Hello and welcome to another Moog demo library. In this video we're going to look at how to use Spectravox to emulate some of the Moogerfooger effects pedals, but also how to use Spectravox as an open-ended guitar signal processor and modulator. First thing we'll do is hook up a guitar to Spectravox. I'm using a standard 1/4-inch instrument cable plugged into the program input, and the other side is plugged into my guitar. I've got the gain level set at maximum, program trigger to envelope generator switched on. I have the VCA mode switched on, bands 9 and 10 set to buzz, and the mode switch switched to filter bank. So the first thing I'm going to do is patch a cable from the program output to the carrier input. The 1/4-inch XLR combo jack on the program input is really useful for interfacing with instruments such as guitar. And with the preamp on the program input and its gain level, we can bring the guitar level up to a nice volume for playing with Spectravox. Now with the carrier mix set to VCO/carrier, I'll just hear the carrier input, which in this case is the program input. And if I turn up the volume and start playing guitar, we'll hear the guitar come through Spectravox. Let's start by emulating the MF103 phaser. The 10 bands of Spectravox sort of emulate the overlapping filter bands and sort of comb filtering that you get with a phaser. So if we start to raise the LFO while we're playing, and especially once we increase the resonance, we can start to get phaser-like effects. We can also shift all of the filters up and down with the spectral shift. And start to find really interesting phaser-like effects. We can also use the filter band controls to control the levels individually of all 10 filters. Taking out the low end and the high end, maybe taking out all the even numbered filters. Getting the low end back in. And exploring everything that the filter bank has to offer. Speaking of this low-pass filter, the next pedal we can start to try to emulate is the MF101 low-pass filter. And the easiest way to start doing that is just turning down the volume on every other filter and just leaving the low-pass filter open. The MF101 low-pass filter was a combination of an envelope follower and a low-pass filter. And with the program envelope follower output, we have an envelope follower that tracks the input level of our guitar. So if we patch the program envelope follower output to the shift, we will be shifting all filters, but since we only have the low-pass filter open, it'll be like controlling a cutoff knob on a low-pass filter. And so if we set our filter cutoff at an appropriate point and maybe add some resonance, we can get the slap of a MF101 low-pass filter. And of course we can add the LFO in to get even more interesting movement. Something that in fact you would need 2 Moogerfoogers to do. We can try to approximate the tremolo of an MF102 ring modulator by taking the LFO output and patching it to the VCA CV input. It's not quite a ring modulator because this VCA is unipolar rather than bipolar, but you can still experiment with all the sounds you can find. And get into kind of clangorous ring mod textures. Finally, there's the MF105 MRF. The MRF is a filter bank, just like Spectravox, with 8 filters instead of Spectravox's 10. But the MRF had a unique animation circuit that would send sequences to control the levels of all of the filter bands. Here on Spectravox, you have VCA inputs for every filter band, so if you have a lot of modulation signals, you can plug them into all the separate filter bands to get unique filter band animation. And you can also get MRF-like sounds by just sending a sequence into the shift input to move all of the filters along with the sequence. Remember that Spectravox is more than a simple multi-effects pedal, but rather a unique combination of audio circuits and modulators that you can patch together to find new effects.